News, the process to find partners to improve Family Island airports begins. The Prime Minister reveals startling details about the Minister Administration Food Assistance Program. The Prime Minister also shares his thoughts on the Golden Yolk project and an officer in police custody after alleged incest with his daughter. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Today marks the launch of the bidding process for 14 additional Family Island airports throughout a public-private partnership program to engage experienced and qualified private sector companies to design, build, finance, operate, and/or maintain the 14 Family Island airports, including on Long Island, San Salvador, New Bight Cat Island, North Eleuthera, Governor's Harbor Eleuthera, Sandy Point, Abaco, Black Point, and the Exuma International Airport. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for tourism, investments, and aviation, Chester Cooper, notes that investors have shown great interest in the Bahamas' airport infrastructural projects, which is an indication of the global confidence in the Bahamas as a destination. Deputy Prime Minister Cooper says this move affirms the national priority and commitment of the government to aggressively address the state of the Bahamas airport infrastructure to support ongoing economic development. The requests for pre-qualification and project information, they're available via the Department of Aviation's website, doabahamas.com. Shortlisted parties will be invited to participate in the request for proposal stage, which is tentatively scheduled to be released in May of this year. On Tuesday night, Prime Minister Philip Davis attended a PLP branch meeting in the constituency of Kalani, where he told supporters that former Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for Kalani, Dr. Hubert Minnis, is failing them, and that he is too busy fighting in his own party and he has forgotten about his constituents. The Prime Minister also described the opposition leader, Michael Pintard, as a wonderful actor who creates lots of drama. Mr. Davis also promised to unveil fresh scandalous findings when he spoke in the House of Assembly this morning as he leads off the mid-year budget debates. Meanwhile, Mr. Pintard telling reporters this morning before the parliamentary proceedings began that the Prime Minister Davis, is talking absolute nonsense and must have memory problems.
The Progressive Liberal Party has consistently demonstrated how undemocratic they are. Nothing he says about the F&M is going to change people's perception of how undemocratic the PLP is. So he's looking for an opportunity to deflect from what he has been doing in terms of putting armed officers all around the parliament. Anytime he gets the slightest hint that Bahamians who he worked for are coming downtown. We've seen it in the way in which he continues to operate in his own organization. The Free National Movement, we believe in party discipline like every organization. But the PLP has a record of having expelled multiple persons. That's why Hubert Ingram and Perry Christie were independents. They were fired by the PLP. So was Paul Adley. So it was Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield and others. And under his leadership, he had muzzled the former Prime Minister Christie and reduced to writing through his Secretary General an edict in terms of who could speak at their various functions.
According to reports, the F&M Council meeting got heated last Thursday after Dr. Minnis objected to being blocked from speaking at an upcoming Constituency Association meeting. When asked about that meeting last Thursday, Mr. Pintard says all party members should support the vision the party is putting forward.
The Free National Movement under my leadership, along with Shannon Dawn Cartwright, Dwayne Sands and our officers, we are focused on keeping the PLP accountable, and we expect all members of our team to line up and support the vision that we're putting forward. And that's what our focus is at the moment. That is what is worrisome for the PLP, that we have them on their back heels because they've made some ill-advised decisions. Others who wish at some point in the future to challenge, they'll have their opportunity. But until that day, behave yourself.
A back and forth again over the former Minnis administration's food assistance program, which was launched during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic to assist Bahamians across the country. Prime Minister Philip Davis revealing what he describes as startling lack of control relating to that program. Arla Sebastian has more in this next report.
A startling lack of control relating to the food assistance program launched under the former Minnis administration during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's what Prime Minister Philip Davis termed new information received about the program. Debate on the 2022-2023 mid-year budget kicked off in the House of Assembly Wednesday morning. Prime Minister Davis led off the debate and, in updating parliamentarians and the public on the controversial food assistance program, reported new developments, adding that he expects more to come. The Prime Minister revealing that after the program ended and NGOs began returning unspent funds to the government, one individual, a male, chose to go on a spending spree.
This guy, he returned $100,000 in cash. And he said that no other thing. I don't know whether he brought anything back yet, as I speak today. The same guy, right? The same guy brought back 2 modified high-end trucks, such as those used to fuel boats, jet skis, and other watercraft. High-end trucks. And then, in a bought 2 boats. A speedboat and a barge.
Prime Minister Davis chose not to reveal the identity of the male, only to say that it was only a month ago this information was received, adding that what was returned is all so far, but the exercise is continuing. Now, the Prime Minister also revealed that the former administration appointed a company as the sole collector of immigration fees, which he says is contrary to the practice since the Department of Immigration was created, and fees are paid directly to the government, and the reasons behind the move are profoundly unclear. Add to that, the company is estimated to have collected some $6.4 million.
Under this exclusive contract, every person that had to go to the various offices of this entity to pay for work permits and all other immigration fees in cash. What is deeply troubling, Madam Speaker, is the fact that this company was not licensed to collect revenue or to engage in the provision of financial services. That's how loose and slack this was. We can't imagine why the administration chose to enter into an agreement with a company which was not licensed to trade in the terms of the contract. To make matters not much worse. They collect the money and keep it.
Now, to the Prime Minister's comments, the official opposition leader, Michael Pintard, rose on a point of order.
Madam Speaker, any number of persons can come in the House of Assembly and lay out a series of accusations, and they ought to be able, particularly since they're mentioning specific figures and amounts, to give the timeline on when this occurred, or we could say they're simply making up the story. Now, I've said over and over, we believe the government ought not drip feed the public. They ought to present a fulsome report. We welcome the fulsome report. The Prime Minister has not mentioned a single company's name. He's not mentioned a single period. For all we know, this could be the last 18 months. If it isn't the 18 months it's before, he ought to give the period of time that he is mentioning. Other than this is a broad statement of salacious details, and we're mature people.
To that, Prime Minister Davis says this.
It could have been the last 18 months. Is that a mature statement that I am making? What are you saying? I'm talking about the slack, loose, right? And downright inappropriate handling of the public finances. Now, let me just say this. You are not the leader at the time. You are the leader at the time. Let me excuse you, man. You want to be excused from this, right? You want to be excused. But you want to be excused. So you are not the leader at the time. You are not the prime minister at the time. But you were there around on the table.
For JCN News, I'm Lissy Bastian.
Thanks for that report, Lassie. As is the case in many nations, eggs are a big part of the Bahamian diet, and we here in the Bahamas import millions of dollars of eggs each year. Well, as the Bahamas pushes for greater food security, egg production is one of the areas that is receiving great attention. In this next report by Cale Campbell, we hear what Prime Minister Philip Davis has to say about the Golden Yolk project.
The Bahamas imports too much food. So says the nation's leader, Prime Minister Philip Davis, speaking at the Golden Yolk Project, an initiative aimed to reduce food imports by 25% by the year 2025 through promoting the production and sale of quality and affordable eggs, thus reducing the import of eggs through self-sufficiency. Prime Minister Davis cites the Bahamas importing 90% of the country's food, despite multiple administrations having, quote, marched around the issue.
My friends, that all changes now. Today, I declare that that figure is destined to fall faster than the walls of Jericho. We are ushering in a new age of agriculture, an age of promise and prosperity, an age where we make the most of what we have in the most sustainable manner possible. This is especially important for low and middle income families who are disproportionately affected by ballooning inflation on imported foodstuffs. In the race for greater food security for the Bahamas, we have already made headway. We are allocating $500,000 in grants to farmers and an additional $1 million in funding to secure broilers and to support livestock farming.
Prime Minister Davis further underlines how the Golden Yolk Initiative moves the Bahamas closer towards food sovereignty and greater food security, while underlining how the initiative delivers on several commitments outlined in the Progressive Liberal Party's Blueprint for Change manifesto.
The creation of jobs, the development of our family islands, and the empowerment of Bahamians. The project's three-phase implementation will see the creation of some 90 jobs, over half of which will be based in the family islands. These new jobs mean more disposable income for Bahamians, be they from Abaco in the north or Inagua in the south. They also translate to a more robust and diverse economy for our country. Falling under the purview of the Bahamas Agriculture and Industrial Corporation, BAIC, this project aims to harness the entrepreneurial spirit of our people, supplanting dependency with self-reliance and innovation. 38 poultry houses are slated for construction across 12 family islands, with a further 8 earmarked for New Providence. These sites will increase local egg production 30-fold, injecting an additional $2.3 million into our domestic economy.
Reiterating that the Golden Yolk Project, quote, goes hand in hand with the government's pledge that every Bahamian has sufficient access to affordable and nutritious food, Prime Minister Davis revealed that the initiative is expected to slash the country's food import bill by $12.5 million, as well as securing 1% of local egg production.
We may be a small nation, but that does not mean we cannot make big strides towards a goal loftier than ourselves. We have mastered hospitality, but we should not limit our excellence to tourism alone. We can and must do more, just as we are doing today. More to support our own and more to make ourselves self-sufficient. The work of the Bahamas Agriculture and Industrial Corporation in spurring domestic investment, generating employment, and reducing imports cannot be overstated. The efforts remain vital for the collective vigor of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I salute the team behind the Golden Yolk Project for setting us off on the race to becoming a food-secure country.
The matter concerning food security is an issue Caribbean nations are not unfamiliar with. Just this month, CARICOM General Secretary Dr. Carla Barnett, at the 44th regular meeting of CARICOM, hosted here in the capital, references that a study conducted last year by CARICOM along with the World Food Program, revealing all CARICOM member nations are food insecure. She further reveals that the issue came to the forefront at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic when the global shipping disruptions occurred, exposing the vulnerability of Caribbean nations. For Jcn News, I'm Cale Campbell.
Thanks for that report, Cale. An early morning home invasion and sexual assault leaves police here in the capital on the hunt for the perpetrator. According to police reports, a masked male entered an adult female's home in the Angliston community and sexually assaulted her sometime around 2 a.m. The victim was awoken by the unknown male who held a knife at her throat and sexually assaulted her. Following the tragic ordeal, she alerted neighbors who then notified the police. Social Services and Urban Development Minister Obi Wilshcombe decrying the incident and says men need to demonstrate more respect for women.
Well, it's very sad that we have cases. We're trying to do the best we can. I think public education is required more, and we have to understand what's causing men to behave in such a way. Is it psychological? Is it their own personal situations? Or what's creating the issues? So we have to find ways in which to reach these individuals. But I believe we have to demonstrate a little bit more respect for women. Much more respect for women. We have to ensure that young boys from the time that they're in primary school or at home are learning to respect women, because it's truly unacceptable. And in the society, it doesn't speak well of us if we continue to just look at it and turn a blind eye. What we have to do is we have to do the best we can to cause a change. It's a mindset. We have to get people away from believing that everything's going to be just fine. And we certainly will do our best to cause for greater education.
According to the 2022 police crime statistics, there were 139 incidents of unlawful sexual intercourse reported in 2022, an 11% increase compared to 2021. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez described those statistics as alarming. Anyone who may have information relating to this or any other criminal matters, you're urged to contact the police at Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS, that's 328-8477. Meantime, criminal investigators are questioning a Royal Bahamas Police Force sub-officer for incestuous behavior. While details are sketchy, police say the officer is presently in custody being questioned at the Criminal Investigation Department, and investigations are ongoing at this time. Unconfirmed reports say the officer allegedly had sexual relations with his daughter. Police say further updates will be provided on completion of their investigation. And finally, in this segment, a 38-year-old male of Grand Bahama avoided being shot by 3 assailants on Tuesday afternoon. Police on Grand Bahama are now investigating the incident, which occurred in downtown Freeport. According to reports, sometime around 2 p.m., the male was walking in the downtown area when he was approached by 3 men in a white right-hand Toyota vehicle when one of the occupants of the vehicle fired gunshots in his direction. The male was able to flee the scene without being injured. Police investigations continue there as well. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.